So now we could transition to some of the football. I don't even want to call it Steeler news because technically it's not the first part, isn't it, right? I mean,
league news.
It's league news. I mean, he used to be a Steeler.
It's Steeler news to me.
he was a very, very good receiver for the Steelers. Had a lot of success here. Yeah, man. Had a very unique ending to it here. Yeah. But no, it's not AB for everybody that was thinking that. It's not. We're talking Martavis Bryant, man. My dog, Tay. Who doesn't love Tay? Every time I think of Tay, too, man, I think of the catch versus the Bengals, man. Between the legs. That's like my all-time favorite Tay moment. And then the next one is when he put Patrick Peterson on hamstring alert. Oh, my goodness. I love it. I love it. But my dog, Martavis Bryant, man, has officially applied to be reinstated to the NFL. Which is huge, man, because you think about, some of the things that played into his suspension and why he wasn't able to play. It was a lot associated with some of the rules that have been changed now with the new CBA in terms of the marijuana, in terms of their drug policy overall. And when you just think about his situation, very similar to like what Josh Gordon was going through, just not as documented. I feel like with Josh, because the success that he had, the success that he had while playing, it's a lot bigger because he was viewed as a legit top 5 guy, top 10 guy when he was healthy, when he was right. Whereas with Tay was always on the come up to get to that, but never really fulfilled that potential or lived up to that. So with Tay though, man, saying he's applying for the reinstatement, you have to assume that more than likely it will. I mean, come on, let's be real. You know he's gonna get reinstated. Mr. Goodell don't play those type of games.
Dude, he definitely should. Yeah.
But it got me thinking. So I like to go check the Twitter Nation. I like to go check the IG Nation. I like to go check Steeler Nation and see, put the thumb on the post, what they talking about. And people were starting to talk about, would you welcome Martavis Bryant back? I mean, do you want to go first? I mean, because I know how you feel about Tay. I could go right now if you want me to, man. It's kind of like, you know what I mean?
I'll just say something real quick, then you can go.
Go ahead, knock that out.
Hell yes.
Thank you. I mean, come on, it's Tay, baby. It's Tay. We know what Tay is, man. We know what Tay is.
And I think, I'll let you go, but I think for whatever reason, we've talked about this before, I feel for whatever reason, this time it even makes more sense.
Talk about it.
When we talked about it in the past, but I'll let you go.
No. I like when you go.
Nah, man.
Come on, man. You got the juice, man.
All right.
You got the no-leg on. You look clean in here, man. You got the Pumas on. Shout out to Ralph with the Puma tail. Yes, let's go. I love it. And you covered up the taco meat. I did. You ain't want to go sex symbol today. It's cool.
Nah.
You usually come in here with only 2 buttons out of a 10-button shirt. I'm like, bro, what type of video you shooting in here, man?
I'm eyeing up some shirts that keep on popping up on my Instagram feed.
Big Brother's watching you. That's why.
Well, no, I know, and it's cool, because I understand that they're targeting all these products at me, and they're those button-down shirts. It's like that one pink one I have, and I've been wanting to get a bunch of them for this summer. Just really haven't gotten around to it. The malls are closed and all this stuff. I'm anti-mask, and it's hard for me to navigate this, the getting new clothes. So I'm getting targeted like no other on my Instagram with these shirts. Because I guess I looked at them initially. I'm like,
so you don't have a problem with them watching you though, but you don't want to wear a mask. I have a bigger issue with them when I talk about something, I search something one time and I see it on my feed every day after that. I have a bigger issue with that.
I don't think that's government though. That's
I don't like
marketing. That's business.
How did they get there?
If you were running a business, you would do the same thing though.
It makes sense from a business standpoint. Yeah. Doesn't the government, what they do, make sense for them? Sure. But for me, I don't like it. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to be watched.
I don't
like
necessarily like it either, but for whatever reason, like in general, but for every reason, I'm really liking these shirts. So I guess it's, hey, you're giving me what I want, like deep down. So I appreciate that.
I don't mind this. Go for it.
So I got to buy some of these shirts here at some point, and then I'll be showing some more taco meat if that's what you're getting at. Man.
Yeah, 'cause the people like taco meat Deke. They want taco meat, super slouch, laid back Deke.
Okay.
You got to give them that right here, man. You look like you're either about to go like play video games. I think like if my phone broke, I would take it to you the way you look right now,
really?
or like you about to install like a security system or do some like cyber hacking. Like that's the vibe I'm getting right now from you, man. Wow. I really like it though.
Okay.
I'm glad you're on my team. That's all I'm saying, man.
I'm good with certain technology things. I'm not that educated with that type of stuff.
You're like, oh man, you cracked the screen, but you know what? It's a little bit. You're good. The hard drive is just fine. I got you. Come back in like an hour.
Well, you've seen some of my old phones. Remember, I showed you pictures.
Yeah, crazy.
All my phones up to this one have been just destroyed, like the screen destroyed. But
but you would still use them.
I was still using them.
Yes.
My point was with doing that. We're getting way off track. I'm sorry, but my point in doing that was still using the iPhones with cracked screens. Mm-hmm. Is that I never got to worry about people wanting that phone.
You're right.
It's kind of like the more money, more problems thing.
You're right.
Like
You're right.
Nice phone. I always got to be looking out for it. But
you're right.
A phone with a screen crack like no other.
Screen? Nah.
No, who wants that?
Yeah.
Who's gonna?
I don't even want to use that phone. Like, yeah.
So it was a weird theory. It kind of worked, but at the same time, I do like having a phone with not a cracked screen. So
probably a lot safer for your hands.
There's
too,
pros
man.
and cons.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I could feel sometimes my thumb, like it wouldn't hurt, but I could definitely feel like little crystal pieces or whatever the phone's made of.
Absolutely, man.
Getting into my thumb. But with Martavis, it makes more sense this time around just because with the coronavirus situation and the uncertainty. So if he's to come back for the Steelers, it makes sense just because there is some familiarity there with Martavis and the Steelers, whereas you have Chase and Martavis with the Steelers and Martavis and Big Ben.
Yes, indeed.
Let's not forget about that. You have Chase Claypool coming in. He's a rookie. Tomlin has already talked about how some of these rookies might be behind the 8 ball for this season. You have James Washington. You have Juju. You have Deontay, who has been in the system, but with Big Ben, you're thinking that's going to be a connection.
Right, absolutely.
But if you want a sure thing, somewhat, Martavis and Ben have been there together, and magic has been made before.
Oh, it's been beautiful.
It's been amazing. And we know Martavis is a top 5 talent. He just is. If he can get everything right, he could be an elite receiver. So I see it as a low risk for the Steelers. If, he's trying to get back in the NFL, he's serious about it, then, you could sign a vet minimum contract, a year or two, and he's going to try to ball out. Now, I think now you could say, why would Martavis want to come back to the Steelers? Because we've had this conversation before where, all right, he's not going to be the number 1 or number 2 guy. It's going to be tough for him to acclimate with the new team like that. But I think it makes sense from the standpoint with the coronavirus thing, where he's going to be familiar with the Steelers system, where if he signs with any other team, what's that going to look like where he's sitting at home and doing these Zoom meetings and all this type of stuff? He's not going to be able to get as acclimated as he would just signing with the Steelers. He's already familiar. So I think it makes sense both sides. I don't think it's that far out there where, hey man, you get a top 5 talent in here, like low risk, high reward, in my opinion. I think it could definitely work out. So what?
I love that, man. You brought up an awesome point with the coronavirus, because you're right. From an all-season standpoint, if he goes anywhere else, I mean, even now, you think about how much he's missed through the virtual OTAs. So just the meetings that he would have been sitting in, he doesn't even get that opportunity. So now you're trying to teach yourself this stuff and then go into whatever the training camp situation might be, or maybe, and then try to just hop on a move and train in that regard. Whereas in Pittsburgh, he knows the offense. He knows Ben. He's been here. Ben knows him. The rapport is there. And it's funny, you talked about him not being the number 1, but we both said that who's the true number 1 right now as it sits today? Some people will say Juju based off what he's done in the past.
We're banking on it.
And I think that's
we've
something
said
that we've all agreed upon, that we're banking on Juju bouncing back, looking more like year 1 and 2 than year 3. But people will still debate, and I know for me, I'm extremely high. Both of us, we're high on Deontay Johnson. We think that he's
never
ready
played
to
with
take
Ben,
that
though.
next step. You're right. He hasn't played with Ben. So that chemistry isn't there just yet. We're hoping that it doesn't take long for them to acclimate to each other. But that hasn't happened yet. And with Chase, we don't know with Chase yet, because, I mean, he's a rookie. And Coach Tom, like you said, he talked about these guys have missed over 900 snaps because of the no OTA practices. So when you factor in that, I mean, you have to assume this dude is going to be behind the 8 ball. It's going to take him some time to develop and get up to speed in the offense, and then get up to speed in terms of competing against some of these defenders. So a lot of that plays into it. Whereas with Tay, the familiarity is there. He understands what his body needs to be like for an NFL season. And you just talk about adding another weapon. Come on, bro. We don't have to project. We hope that Chase Claypool can grow into what a Martavis grew into, but we know what Tay is. Like, come on, baby. I'm excited. If he does get a reinstated, which he should, I agree with you, man. It's a low risk.
Like,
reward,
what
bro.
other team? I know with AB, there's teams, the Ravens, Seahawks.
Yeah.
Like those are the two teams.
Ravens and Seahawks are big for them.
What team for Martavis Bryant would he feel like if he signed, he would get a nice opportunity there? I feel like he would get a really nice opportunity here with Pittsburgh.
I agree. I think the biggest thing when you talk about Tay in Pittsburgh is more so just going to be how does he come back and mesh with the Juju? Remember how that whole ending was where he was saying, I mean, let's be real about it. Started on the draft night, man. That guy, he here for you, Sammy. Actually, buddy. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that dynamic works out. Then also just the humility element of it. Is he coming back with the mindset, the mentality that, hey, I'm Tay. When I was here, I was the guy next to AB. Like they were saying, I mean, it was times in practice where we definitely had the conversation of, man, we know he could be better than that. Like that's legit. So when you factor in all those things and say, okay, how is the team open to dealing with that? Is he open to that situation? Or is the team going to view him as a distraction? What does Ben feel about it? I think it's a lot of variables in there that play into that. And then also, I mean, you talk about bringing him in. That means somebody got to go. I ain't going there. I ain't. Because I'm just
6 receivers. We keep 6 receivers.
I mean, somebody got to play special teams, right? From what I saw, they were just saying that Deontay can play outside or inside. Juju could play inside or outside, but you want him in the inside.
Martavis outside. What do you? So we're saying Martavis, Juju, James Washington, Deontay, Claypool. Hey man, like
I'm not going there.
You know where I stand with that.
I'm not going there, bro. I don't do that.
You know where I stand from a strictly playing standpoint and on the field production. Yeah, that 6th spot should probably be vacant. But if dude, whatever Ben wants, I'm loyal to Ben, so whatever makes him feel good.
It wasn't we want him. Listen, I'm not playing that game, man, because I ain't got nothing but love and respect. All right, I don't play the hey man, get him out of here game and all that stuff because
I'm not either. I'm saying he's good.
In the right situation, he could be impactful, man. That's all I'm saying, man. So,
but if we're talking bringing in Martavis,
that's different.
Come on, Martavis is.
I mean, Tay when awesome. when healthy, when in the right space, Tay can run with he's with the best of them, man.
Dude, another point. I mean, we were talking about just the lack of connection with the receivers and Ben potentially. James Washington, even. I mean, he's only played with Ben in limited time his rookie year. I don't know how many yards he ended up having, but he had the 700 yards last year with Mason and Duck. Yes. Not really Ben. So that's another thing where. Man, Martavis might have the most rapport with Ben. I mean, obviously Juju, but...
Well, this is my thing with that, though. At least the difference with James, Washington, and Deontay, James has had 2 full off seasons with him. We talked about the OTA last year where, I mean, I was out there. James was tearing it up. Like, he looked awesome. His rapport with Ben looked great. And then, obviously, it never got a chance to materialize in anything because of Ben going down when he went down. So I think that does play into it. But I mean, that's still 2 off seasons compared to Tay's, 4. And then, it's not the same.
Yeah, maybe it's a stretch.
Or technically, would it be 3 for Tay? Because he had that 1 year where he was suspended.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And it might be a stretch there, but I'm just thinking we've seen Ben and Martavis in game ball out. So like you can have a lot of rapport in the preseason, in training camp and all that type of stuff. But when it comes down to it, who's Ben going to trust when the lights are on?
Without a doubt.
So Martavis, they've had some chemistry there.
I would love it.
It would be so cool.
And I think it'll be a cool, man. I think it'll be a cool just ending for Tay. Like he comes back after everything. I mean, where he started out setting it on fire, things ended kind of rough, takes the West Coast trip, hits Oakland. All right, it doesn't work out. For some reason, still a receivers in the Raiders, it doesn't play out that well. I can't call it. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Note to self, I got you. If you want to go west, go to AZ. If you don't, then just stay on the East Coast. I got you. That's cool. Okay. All right, cool. But have him come back to Pittsburgh, man. Get this thing rolling. Get number 7 with number 7, and then we all on our merry way. We good. For me, that's how I look at it, man. Because you're not going to tell me,
love it, dude.
We already were talking about our receiving course, and we had the debate a couple podcasts ago about our receiving corps versus the Bengals, versus the Ravens, versus the Browns, which was like, I mean, it was a fun debate. I even got on Twitter. I mean, not Twitter. I got on IG a little bit, and we got to have some conversation. I did.
You going back
every once in a while. I hop on, man. Every once in a while. So because a lot of people were saying that the Browns should have been 2, should have been Bengals 1, Browns 2, and then I saw people saying it should be Browns 1, Bengals 2, Steelers 3. There was consensus Steelers 3. I even had a couple people say Ravens. I was like, "But you're crazy." I almost unfollowed you for that or blocked you off the page. Like,
I think they were probably just thinking winning the AFC North. Maybe.
Yeah, they
some people don't read.
Yeah, or some people don't realize like when we and the thing was too, when you make the post, they just looked at it as, all right, who is their best receiver? Odell, Jarvis.
Mm-hmm.
Who's our best receivers? Versus the debate we had was best receiving group, best receiving core.
I think I tried to make that clear, right? Didn't I say like clear? Wide receiver team rankings? A lot of people rankings?
Got it, but it was still a good amount that were not catching that. Like, bro, you're not going to tell me 2 guys in a rest of bums are better than these 6 quality guys or these 4 quality guys. Like, nah, I'm not hearing that. Like, and I think that was some of the disconnect there, man. But yeah, you add Tate to that mix.
Number 1.
Yeah.
You switching up your rankings a little bit.
Well, I mean, because now you got to look when you because I said Cincinnati over Pittsburgh. Yeah. And mainly it was because outside of once you talk AJ, once we went down the depth of the Bengals receivers, they were a lot deeper than we are right now in terms of proven talent. Now, I think we have more potential, but we're not great enough for potential. And that's the thing. We were like, I mean, you can project what you want to project for Chase, but whatever you project for Chase, you got to project more for T because T was drafted higher than him. If we're going off of just that, and I thought that when we factor in all those, that's why I said Cincinnati. But if you add in a Tay, that's a whole nother element. It's a whole nother element.
You think he could do it if he came back?
I mean, knowing Tay is one of the dudes. Like you talk about guys who's going to work hard. He works hard. Tay's biggest issue was the marijuana. Let's be real about it.
Yeah,
it wasn't. When did we ever say Tay's out of shape? When did we ever say Tay can't stay healthy? When did we ever say Tay can't do this? Tay can't do like that wasn't the issue with Tay. We said with Tay was, the narcotics, and at the time we all were just kind of feeling the same way in terms of it's crazy that you get suspended for this, but not for some of the other things that were going on.
Oh yeah.
But that was the rule at the time. But now that rule has changed, yeah, it's a no-brainer to me, bro. It's like if we're asking, hey, would you take AB back? If AB's mentally good and AB's not doing all the other stuff, come on, man, you know the talent that he has. Problem is the other stuff. You just, you have to factor that in. Tate didn't have it. Tate just had, a little marijuana. Right. That's cool, man.
And maybe some of the uncertainty that you did mention before, I think it would be as simple as a conversation.
Definitely would.
Like Martavis and hashes it out with, Ben or the team, the organization, whatever. Just, all right, this is where I'm at right now, and this is what I want to do going forward. I think it'd be as simple as that.
And I will say this, man, being that I was a teammate of Tate's for a couple of years here in Pittsburgh, especially during the glory years, man, Tate's temperament, even if
he seems chill.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, even if he has that issue, which there were some disagreements or differences in philosophies, he's still gonna come in and do his job. He's still gonna come in and put forth great effort. He's gonna show up on time. He's not gonna be the disruptive type. We talked about how with some players that if there was a disagreement, they were a little more vocal in how they expressed their dislike or disdain for a situation. Martavis that's not his temperament, man. Martavis, he'll complain about it out the facility. He'll complain about it with the guys, but he's never going to let it jeopardize his performance, his preparation and things like that, which you always got to respect because that's not easy to do. You talk about just at your workplace. It's hard to work with people you don't like sometimes, man. Or people you got disagreement with. It's hard. I feel like in football, man, you get stuck with some people. You're like, all right, common goal here, common goal. That's what you got to focus on. But with Tay, like I always thought he did a good job in that regard.
Okay,
yeah.
Prayer hands up. Let's hope it happens.
Yeah, man. So I'm with it, bro.